I don't care what nobody say. If it wasn't for Wayne, Drake wouldn't have been as hot as he is. Yeah, he's a good artist and all that, but at the same time, like without somebody like Lil Wayne like backing you or saying that you solid like that or that you good like that, him believing in you, then cause it's just like clothing. When people see like when I remember when the first like the big dad shoes came out, nobody was wearing them. They were just people were wearing the famous people wearing like Balenciagas and stuff, but they were ugly shoes and people know they're ugly. But the fact that famous people did it, it made it cool. So the fact that Lil Wayne's a very respected artist, the fact that he attached his name with like Drake being the next up, it makes it go different. You know what I'm saying? It makes everybody be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe Wayne right. Wayne, you know what I'm saying? They is valid, you know. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rado Rizzo, the Shadow Kage of the Hidden Village. And today we about to do some reactions to a couple of videos I got planned already. Let me move my Twitch over here. Got a couple of videos I want to check out. Definitely this video about Lil Wayne. I got to check this out for sure. Just talking about Young Money more than anything. And let's put this out in the air right now before we get started. Let's get this out in the air right now. I think Dwayne Michael Carter, a.k.a. Lil Wayne, a.k.a. Lil Tunechi, a.k.a. Weezy Baby, is the greatest rapper of all times. And I say that to say this. He's been rapping since at least 98, 99. And been consistent. And it's 2024 and he's still wowing people. What other rappers doing that? Be honest. Be honest. There's some rappers that were hot, such as Eminem, went away for a little while, came back out, that was hot. You know, I get that. There's other people like that, you know, the Kanye West, the Jay-Z's, they go into retirement. Lil Wayne is the most consistent artist of all time. The most consistent and the highest level artist of all time. And we about to watch the rise and fall of Young Money, a.k.a. the greatest group of all time. They got Drake and Nicki. Drake pales in comparison to the ability that Lil Wayne has. Just saying. I'm just saying, it's all factual actuals. Just saying, just putting that out there. But let's go ahead and start this. Turn this up just a tad.
Young Money.
Lil Tunechi.
Drake, he's real good. He's actor and all that. He's in the best.
Lil Tunechi.
All better than me. That's why I came on first. Y'all gonna love me. Once they come out, y'all gonna forget about me.
I got my man Lil Chucky.
That was a squad, cuz. Chanel can, low key, Chanel's a very good singer. She was on his Rebirth album. Dog. Talk about different. Her whole style different, bro. Her whole style, she's definitely slept on.
6 years later.
Lil Wayne has established a label called Young Money. Now, Young Money Entertainment is a part of Cash Money, and he sued Cash Money and Birdman for $51 million, claiming he didn't get paid. He's looking at them and saying, you guys are not paying us for the albums of Drake, Nicki, and Tyga.
That situation was a lot of mess that needed to be cleaned up over the years. And you know, you just think of where those guys started. I mean, it's only right that there's going to be a lot of gray area over 20 years of hustlers coming out of New Orleans.
That's facts.
Go on and pretty much keep Universal alive.
That's facts.
If you know anything about hip-hop, then you know that Young Money is probably the biggest record label of all time.
You did.
Lil Wayne was at the height of his career when he started the label.
You know what I forgot to do? Full screen. I'm sorry, y'all.
1 million copies in the first week with his album, The Carter 3.
My bad, Gango.
Instead of prioritizing his own megastardom, he stepped back from the spotlight and introduced the world to the biggest rappers today, like Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyga. But in 2024, you probably wouldn't recognize any of the new Young Money artists. And
they weird.
Young Money birthed some of the biggest artists in hip-hop. The downfall of the label was actually a lot darker than you might think. But before we get into the downfall of the label, we've got to understand
in the corner with the purple suit on, looking like Slick name, Slick name, Pimp name, Slick back.
All of the original Cash Money members had left the label.
Hey, y'all can't see my cursor. I got it in some kind of mode. But Juvie right here beside Lil Wayne on the right. On his left, my right. Juvie? Different, you know what I'm saying? Superstar for sure. He was like the Boosie before the Boosie, or the Gucci before the Gucci. If you know, you know. If you over the age of 25, you know. You know what I'm saying? Juvie was that guy, bro. Straight up, just putting it out there. Juvie was really that guy. Manny Fresh was that producer of a lifetime, you know.
due to money issues.
Dope Squad,
The
Dope
last man
Squad.
standing was Lil Wayne, who was discovered by Birdman and signed to Cash Money in the early 90s at the young age of 12 years old. By 2005, Wayne was on his way to becoming the biggest rapper in the world.
Facts.
And this is when he created Young Money.
Actual factuals.
The profits of Young Money were split 49% going to Lil Wayne and 51% going to Birdman and Cash Money. Young Money was a company under Cash Money Records, with Cash Money owning 51% of the profits that Young Money generated. The first artists signed to Young Money were
That ain't good. Lil Wayne doing all the hard work of finding artists. This how I see it. He doing all the hard work of finding artists, you know, put them in the right positions just for baby to get 51%. Nah, cuzzo, you dead on that, Chief.
Currency, Boo, Mac Main, and Gutta
You
Gutta.
dead on that,
From the
Chief.
original
Gutta
Young
Gutta
Money
was like
roster,
that,
the
bro.
lead rapper
Welcome to
was still
Gutterville.
somewhat active
Like
as
that.
Currency. However,
Hood
his
classic.
time at the label was not long. He left shortly after signing, and he only dropped a couple songs on Young Money. When he was asked why he left Lil Wayne's label, Currency said,
He
"If
looked
I got
crazy as
Young
hell
Money
now."
later on, it might have went a different way. But when I was there, I was like, all right, Wayne's trying to make sure he's remembered as the best rapper alive. That does not entail making sure that my music gets where it needs to get to right now, even though he loves me to death." This is the case with a lot of artists in the industry, right? They sign young and take the first deal that's thrown at them, even if it's not the best. However, before Young Money even started, this seemed to be the case with almost every single artist that was signed to Cash Money. Wayne was the only original Cash Money
Juvie.
artist left. The founders of Cash Money,
Every time I
Birdman
see
and his
Juvie, I
brother
gotta
Slim,
say it.
signed a distribution
Look
deal
at
with
Slim.
Universal Records where they keep 85% of the royalties from all of their music sales. This was unheard of at the time. It meant that Cash Money kept basically all of their artists' profits, and Birdman was then responsible for paying each
That's crazy. That's actually a pretty good deal for whoever on the label, being Birdman and Slim. That's a great deal, honestly. Like, that's a lot of money. You got a big, you know what I'm saying? You got a big cut of the pie, dog. Why not share it around a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Just saying. I split it. Did me. I split my 85%. I split it in half with Slim. But Slim got to understand he got to help pay for the artist too. And then I would take probably the smaller end.
artists what they were owed from their
Like
music.
out of
This led to many
100%
Cash
of the
Money
money I got, I take like 30% and then split the rest between the artists. See, but that's just me though.
artists signing contracts.
I had them
where they
pay for their own
barely
stuff, though,
saw
like
any profits
Fools
from
and
their
stuff.
music. The whole label, Juvenile, BG, Turk, their main producer Manny Fresh, they all left Cash Money, and they all had similar reasons for leaving. It was essentially due to Birdman's shady business dealings and his inability to pay artists what they're owed. In the late
Green.
90s, Juvenile was the biggest artist on the Cash Money
Juvie?
label, and he ended
I'll
up
tell you.
leaving the label at the height of his career. When he left, he said, "My reason to leave Cash Money is the same reason most artists leave a label: money. I'm working like a slave and I'm getting nothing, so I get an entertainment lawyer and found out Cash Money weren't who they said they were with me." Manny Fresh also said he
Dang,
left the label
cool.
because of money. And Turk, who was part of the Hot Boys group with Lil Wayne, sued Cash Money for $1.3 million in 2015 for money he was owed from his music. But that was the past, and it didn't really matter because Cash Money still had their biggest
could.
superstar, Lil Wayne.
Told
Wayne
you.
actually tried
That's a-
leaving the label
Bro,
to
that's
sign
a
with Jay-Z
big
in 2000.
hat, dog. Doing it outside now. Because it's over his dreads and it's still loose.
2005.
I'm a Def Jam artist now, man. Next time you see me, I'm gonna be with the boy Jay-Z, you understand me?
But him and Jay-Z never ended up forming a partnership.
I was hollering that whole the conversation was
Bathing
about
ape.
me joining.
Bathing ape right there. Peak of the world. And that was the peak of style back then. You know what I'm saying? Bathing ape. The peak of style, dog. Straight up.
Jam or the Rockefeller team. or
That was the
whatever.
top of the
You know,
top.
We didn't agree on certain things or whatever the situation was. It didn't work out, and I'm here where I am. But you know, it's all love.
Instead, Wayne renegotiated his contract with Birdman and Cash Money, and in the same year, they created Young Money. So from 2005 to 2007, most of the original Young Money members had very little success on the label, and they quickly left, as Wayne's priority was to become the best rapper alive.
That's a
His
big old
popularity
hat,
grew
dog.
massively
I
in
can't keep
2007,
looking at it.
and he was constantly being pitched to artists who wanted to sign to Young Money. According to Jay Mills, who was one of Young Money's first members, Wayne wasn't actively hunting to sign the next Drake or Nicki Minaj. He was focused on the music, not the business. When asked about Young Money, Jay Mills said, "Wayne never really wanted all of us to be like, quote unquote,
You know
signed
what? I saw a post, I think it was on TikTok, about somebody talking about how much music they used to steal from Lil Wayne, and he just laughed. He just laughed and said, "That's good. I mean, I made it for y'all." You know what I'm saying? And I thought about that. Like, a lot of artists will be pissed off that people are stealing their music and they not making money off of it. But Lil Wayne loves making music so much, dog, that he don't care that you steal it, long as you hear it. What other artist can say that? What other artist loves music like that? Just be real, dog. I'm just being real, man. That's why he's the greatest of all time, man. I don't think there's nobody that's better than him. Who y'all think better than Lil Wayne? Honest. And if you gonna comment it, give valid points. Don't give because of no, dog. No. Lil Wayne has made probably in 3 years more than any other rapper. Made more than in 3 years more songs than any other rapper. I'm being real with you. Like the top rappers at least. Let's be real now. He dropped mixtape after mixtapes after mixtape. Mixtapes better than the albums that people are making. So let's just be honest with it. Let's just be honest. Lil Wayne's the greatest and everybody knows it.
To Young Money. He wanted us to be Young Money, a group, and we do some Wu-Tang stuff and all get deals. I know this sounds crazy, but he never really wanted us all to be signed to him. He wanted to give us a platform and we go rep Young Money and get deals everywhere, but we're still like this conglomerate. Omarion, another original member of Young Money, had similar thoughts. He said, "So I signed my deal with Young Money. I was supposed to get my advance. And basically, within that time, my check didn't come, and that raised a lot of questions for me, like what type of business was being done." He went on to say, Wayne wasn't like a boss. He was an artist. So now you have Wayne, who's the biggest rapper in the world at the time, and one of the only rappers still signed to the shady Cash Money label. He decides to start his own label under Cash Money. At the time, most of Young Money's artists had no real buzz, so standing next to the biggest rapper in the world was a big look for them. Making great music with the biggest rapper in the game was the main priority. But as a result, the finances and business side of things took a backseat, and they weren't the biggest focus at the label. Now, the first artist off Young Money who had hits on the charts wasn't actually Drake or Nicki Minaj. It was Tyga.
Tyga was
met
tough.
Wayne at the 2008 VMA award show and signed to Young Money shortly after. Before signing, he already had an album on the charts and a hit song called Coconut Juice. Even though he started off as the most successful artist on the label, he quickly got overshadowed by the success of Nicki and Drake, but we'll touch on that a bit later. After signing to Young Money,
that was the peak
it took Tyga
swag
3 years
era
to drop his first album on the label. In 2012, it finally came out, and it actually performed pretty well, selling 68,000 copies in its
They wasn't
first week.
snapbacks, they were like pool. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know them hats. Them hats were like the dopest hats, bro. The Tisas, what they call Tisas? That was crazy. That was a crazy era. That's when I was in 9th grade.
A year later in 2013,
10th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade.
Young Money. That album didn't perform as well, and it was pretty quiet for Tyga until the end of 2014 when he left a comment on Instagram saying, "The Gold album is done. My label's holding me hostage, so I can't release nothing. Might just leak it for my fans instead of letting the label make money off it." When a fan asked if he was still on Young Money, he replied, "Not for long." The president of Young Money, Mac Main, responded to him by saying, "Don't forget about putting limes in the coconuts. What you rep didn't make you or build you." He's basically implying that before signing to Young Money, Tyga was making corny hits, and it was thanks to working with Wayne that he was able to cement himself as a legitimate artist. Now, at the time, it seemed kind of odd that Tyga wanted to leave Young Money. He had a decent success. He was one of the only artists along with Drake and Nicki who actually got to release.
I always liked Tyga's chains.
And he actually had hits. But his music got worse and his popularity started to dry up. He also started dating Kylie Jenner at the time, and he became more known for being with her.
Stray. That's a stray there. They shot a stray at him. He got more known for dating Kylie Jenner than off his music. Is crazy, dog. Like, tough.
Than for his music. It was for all these reasons that Young Money wasn't releasing his album, but it was eventually revealed that he also was not getting paid what he was owed. Tyga revealed that he was owed $12 million.
What he had, his brand was called Last Kings, wasn't it?
Paid them $1 million of his own money to end his contract with the label. After leaving the label, he broke up with Kylie Jenner and he fell off pretty hard. He put out the Gold album, which was the album that Young Money refused to release, and it only ended up selling 3,000 copies. Fast forward to 2018, and he ended up making the greatest comeback of all time with his hit single, Taste. And to this day, him and Wayne still make music together, and Tyga actually dedicated an entire music video to Wayne. Now, Tyga's departure from Young Money was bittersweet, but his career didn't go as bad as some of the other artists on the label. Around the time that Tyga signed to the label in 2008, Wayne was also introduced to Drake, Nicki Minaj, and most of the other members of the label. Aside from the shady business deals, it was Drake and Nicki Minaj's popularity that also played a massive role in the downfall of Young Money.
Yeah.
I'll explain that later on in
Yeah.
this video, but at the time
They
of
got
being
cocky,
signed,
cuz.
all the Young Money members besides Tyga were on the same playing field. They had no hits, very little buzz, no big albums out, and they were just lucky to be standing next to the best rapper alive.
True.
So Wayne signs about 10 artists to Young Money in 2008. In 2009, the group dropped the hit songs Bedrock and Every Girl, along with their group album titled We Are Young Money. Bedrock was the song that really put Nicki Minaj on the map,
that was
starting her
peak.
monstrous feature run,
Every
No
Girl
Pun
in
Intended,
Bedrock,
where she ended up getting on the
they had
hit
the
songs
world in a
My Thing Bad by
chokehold, dog.
Ludacris, Bottoms Up by Trey Songz, Monster by Kanye, and many more. Drake also went
She,
on a crazy feature on
Nicki Minaj low key watched everybody on Monster, bro. Like she was like the shining light in that song, on that song. That was.
after signing to Young
She
Money,
proved that
which
she
led him to
stand-
drop
she
his
stand
classic
amongst the
mixtape,
legends.
So Far Gone. While this was the beginning of prosperous years for artists like Drake and Nicki, it was the beginning of the end for nearly every artist on the label. I mean, if you were following Young Money back in the day, you probably remember
Drake got weird, though.
Corey Guns, J Mills, Chanel.
As he's got more famous, he's got kind of weird, dog. Like, I guess money does that to people, man. He got that Mr. Beast syndrome. You feel me?
And the two little kids, Twist and Lil Chucky, who must have been signed when Wayne was sipping some really strong cough medicine. Now, unfortunately, none of these artists had much success with their careers at Young Money. Gutta Gutta, J Mills, T Streets, and Chanel had features on a lot of Wayne projects, but they never ended up dropping their own albums. This was probably because when you're standing next to a rapper as talented as Wayne, it's hard to stand out and make a name for yourself. But there were some really dope artists on Young Money who had a lot of potential, but they also never had an album release. For example, Corey Guns was on the original version of A Milli by Lil Wayne, and he had a feature on Wayne's massive song, 6 Foot 7 Foot, which sold over 7 million records. He stood his ground, and you could argue that he rapped as well as Wayne did on those songs. But even with his talent, Corey was never able to put out his own album. In 2020, when Corey Guns' dad was asked about his son signing to Young Money, he said, "It's bittersweet because I know how the industry could spit you up. One minute you'll be hot, then not be
One
hot,
day
and
you're
I never
hot,
want
they
my
love
kids
you,
to
and they
go through
switch,
that.
and
I'd
they
rather
switch,
them
and they
have a
love you,
steady
and they...
income." Like, for instance, where is Corey now? He's got 1 million songs, he's working, he's still on Young Money, believe it or not. But Corey's such a phenomenal rapper. In my era, Corey would have been a superstar already. But the era we live in, you almost got to dumb it down somewhat, and he was just never willing
I
to
hate
dumb
that.
it down to the point where
Well, he just said you do got to dumb it down for these kids because they always high. They always drunk, they always high, they always off a bean. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't like nothing to challenge their mind no more, and that's crazy that people are missing out on some of the greatest artists of all time, such as Lil Wayne or Corey Guns, or I'm sure there's other ones out there. I really honestly don't be in the music field like that no more because I know that it's dumbed down. But yeah, man, it's crazy world we live in now, baby.
where people could all the way get it. Now that could be true for a lot of rappers on Young Money. As we saw with Tyga, if you didn't have a hot song or any sort of popularity at the time, then the label wouldn't want to put your album out. It's unfortunate because with the right branding,
Business,
artists like
cuz, it's all
Corey
about
Guns, J
business.
Mills, and even Chanel could have had prosperous careers. But the label was so busy with Wayne and later Drake and Nicki that they didn't invest in the proper marketing for their less popular artists. Maybe it didn't seem like it was worth it, since none of them were able to create their own popularity. Now,
That's a
as
big
for Lil
dude.
Chucky and Lil Twist, the marketing approach that Young Money took for them was actually pretty interesting. When Wayne was creating Young Money in 2008, Lil Chucky was just 13 years old, and Lil Twist was 15. Wayne explained that he signed these two rappers at such a young age because his daughter was a fan of them. He said, "Anytime my daughter's a fan of you, it means you got stardom." They were both groomed to be the next Lil Wayne. Everything from the way they dressed, the dreads, the cadences in their raps. Wayne said himself that he was going to paint Lil Chucky as the new Lil Wayne. On paper, that sounds like a great idea, right?
Yeah,
Let two
I
young
thought it
kids
was
be
too.
mentored
I
by
thought
the
he was gonna
greatest
be
rapper alive and try to turn
Baby
them into the
Wayne.
next version of that. But unlike Corey Guns, they couldn't rap nearly as well as Lil Wayne. And unlike Drake, they couldn't make hits the same way Wayne's daughter maybe thought they could. Lil Chucky stayed on the label for about 5 years and eventually left without putting out a single album or song. In a 2014 interview with Sway in the Morning, when he was asked about his situation with Young Money, Lil Chucky rapped, "You've been hot and they know it, and still releases they hold it, always had music, labels just wasn't supporting. Guess signing that deal wasn't really all that after all the boasting." Basically stating that he
If the record label don't put out your music, do you still get paid anyways? Well, no. But no, you can't because you ain't made no money off your music. So you just sitting on a label rotten. Your career is like rotting away. And your youth is rotting away. Your creativity's dying because everything you put out that seems creative, they don't like it. That's tough, dog. That's tough, dog. I guess that's why you say stay independent, dog. Stay independent, dog.
Always had the music. It was
That's all I
always
can
there,
say.
but the label just never supported him. They always held back his music, never dropped his albums. And after all the instant gratification and excitement that comes from signing to a guy as prolific as Wayne, actually being on his label probably wasn't what you thought it was when your albums and music just keeps getting delayed. Lil Twist, on the other hand,
That's
was actually
crazy.
still signed to Young Money, and he put out a couple singles with Lil Wayne and Busta Rhymes in the early 2010s, unlike Lil Chucky. At the time, he was good friends with Justin Bieber. Now, while Tyga became less known for his music on Young Money and more known for his relationship with Kylie Jenner,
It's tough.
Lil Twist suffered from the same effect, where he was also less known for his music and more known for his relationship with Justin Bieber. This was at a time when Bieber was getting himself into a lot of legal trouble, and Twist claims that Bieber's team made him take drug charges for Justin.
They're gonna blame the
Those
little
charges
black
would have
kid.
negatively impacted Bieber's reputation as
That's
an
crazy.
artist.
Hey,
But
Justin
for
Bieber
Twist,
was,
a couple drug
before
charges.
he got older, he was like the Taylor Swift of like music. He was like the trophy kid of like music or singing, I guess you would say. You know what I'm saying?
Charges wouldn't hurt his brand as badly, since he already rapped about that type of
That's
stuff and he
facts.
was associated with Lil Wayne. When he was asked about it, Twist said that Bieber had politically correct people around him who can control his life, and I wasn't that guy. I just let him know, you're not a puppet, and he looked up to me and Wayne so much, and that's what they hated. I had control of their cash cow. With TMZ constantly reporting that Twist was getting Bieber into trouble, the two eventually stopped hanging out as much.
Right,
and
man.
Twist
That's
was
all
just
the,
painted
all
as
the
the bad
dopest
guy.
shades you can wear.
No one really cared
I don't
about
care what
his
nobody
music
say.
beyond his association and controversy with Lil Wayne and Justin Bieber. As for Drake, it was the absolute complete opposite. Aside from creating music that changed the course of hip-hop, blending R&B
Drake,
and rap in a way
Drake
that
lost his
never
way,
been done
man. Drake lost his way. I remember old Drake, man. The singing Drake, the love song Drake.
before. Drake had an extremely
was it,
clean
dog.
reputation.
That was
People
peak.
cared more about his music than his affiliation with Wayne or other big artists. According to Lil Twist, Drake met Lil Wayne at the A Milli video shoot, and he brought him a portfolio full of headshots from Degrassi, which was the TV show that Drake was on before he became a rapper. Twist said that from the beginning, Drake was professional and well put together. Wayne flipped through the portfolio that Drake brought him and immediately told his management team to sign Drake. Now, while it's definitely true that Drake has always been professional, the story of how Wayne signed him, Wayne was sent to prison for 8 months, and it was up to Drake and Nicki to make sure Young Money stayed relevant. While all the other Young Money artists failed to create a buzz for themselves, Drake and Nicki put out their first albums, with each of them selling over 300,000 copies first week and going platinum in that same year. By the time Wayne came out of jail, Drake and Nicki
Control
were on top
on
of the
Tangle.
world. Tyga was about to put out his first
Hold on,
album,
Gango.
and Wayne was bigger than ever. But while Young Money's top artists were only getting hotter, this is when the downfall of the label truly began. According to Jay Mills, there was a lot of jealousy between him and the Young Money members. In 2009, they were all small artists, and Wayne would bring all of them out to perform at his shows. But
Yeah.
now you have Drake and Nicki, who are superstars, so
They
they were
became
going
too
out on their
big.
own tours, but they weren't bringing the rest of Young Money with them. Jay Mills said that when
They don't
Drake did
really
his
rock with you,
2012 tour,
cuz.
he was extremely disappointed because Drake brought out A$AP Rocky, Kendrick, 2 Chainz, basically all the biggest artists at the time. But he didn't think of bringing out Jay Mills or any other Young Money artists. He said, even if we're not hot
That's
like that,
tough.
make us hot. Someone made you hot. To be fair, I was in my
Facts.
feelings, but we were
Hey.
a crew. And in a way, Jay Mills kind of
Said, I don't care what nobody say. If it wasn't for Wayne, Drake wouldn't have been as hot as he is. Yeah, he's a good artist and all that, but at the same time, like, without somebody like Lil Wayne, like, backing you or saying that you solid like that or that you good like that, him believing in you, then, cause it's just like clothing. When people see, like, when I remember when the first, like, the big dad shoes came out, nobody was wearing them. They were just, people were wearing the famous people wearing like Balenciagas and stuff, but they were ugly shoes and people know they're ugly. But the fact that famous people did it, it made it cool. So the fact that Lil Wayne's a very respected artist, the fact that he attached his name with like Drake being the next up, it makes it go different. You know what I'm saying? It makes everybody be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe Wayne right. Wayne, you know what I'm saying? Is valid, you know? So just saying.
Wayne made Drake and Nicki hot, so they could return the favor by putting their spotlight on some of the Young Money artists that they came up with. If you go back to any Drake or Nicki album, you won't see a single Young Money feature besides Tyga on a remix to The Motto by Drake. It was obvious that Drake and Nicki were on another level,
Drake always been
and the
selfish,
label's
though.
focus was on
He
making
always
them
been
big
selfish.
and
He's all
completely
about
ignoring
himself.
the careers of the rest of the Young Money artists. By 2014, the animosity amongst Young Money members became even worse. Drake, Nicki, and Tyga were the only artists to release any albums on Young Money, and while Tyga was fighting to leave the label, he did an interview with Vibe magazine where he said, I don't really get along with Drake. I don't really get along with Nicki. I don't like Drake as a person. He's just fake to me. I think his music is good, but we're all different as people. And we're
Facts.
forced together. I try to be cool with everybody.
Drake makes some
but
great
sometimes
music, man, but I
everybody
just
has
question
their own
his
different
who he is.
personalities. When Wayne was the only superstar, All the Young Money artists were standing next to him, trying to make a name for themselves. But as Drake and Nicki became bigger than Wayne, it seemed like every Young Money artist got overshadowed by them, and the label didn't see the value in investing into their careers. It's almost like a TV show. You have the main characters, and as the show develops, you'll get some background characters who are lucky to have a couple lines throughout the
Like
entire
some Game of
series.
Thrones
If those
stuff, boy.
background characters have personalities that stand out, you'll see more of them as the show progresses. So now you have 3 main actors, and 7 people in the
Cause I'm
background
Game of
who aren't
Thrones.
seeing any marketing efforts from their label. They're being overshadowed by superstars and getting no help from anyone around them. But to make it worse, not only were they not getting marketed properly, but they also weren't getting paid properly. By the end of 2014, almost 10 years after Wayne started the Young Money label, he sued Birdman for $51 million, claiming that he was never properly paid for profits from Drake, Nicki, Tyga, and even his
That's
own
tough.
music. Remember how the label wasn't letting Tyga release his Gold album? Well, now they weren't letting Wayne, who was once the biggest artist on the label, release his highly anticipated album, The Carter 5. Now, if the boss of the label isn't getting paid and they won't release his own album, what makes you think they're going to spend money to put out a J Mills project or pay Gutta Gutta anything?
That's facts.
The future of Young Money lied in the hands of Birdman as Wayne fought to end his partnership with Cash Money and began dissing him at his shows. At the time, Birdman was busy turning Young Thug into a superstar, and there were even rumors that Thug and Birdman
know
had
what?
someone shoot up Wayne's tour bus.
I hated Thug for a long time because of this, man. But I figured out what really was going on. And, you know what I'm saying, I forgive him. He's a great artist, you know what I'm saying? But it's more or less Birdman. It's more or less Birdman's doing more than it is Lil Wayne and Thug beefing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's something I learned about it. I value Young Thug's music, though. It's very good music. Free Thug, free YSL.
After Wayne dissed them. The same way J Mills and Tyga had some form of animosity towards Drake's superstardom, it seemed that at this point in Wayne's career, he may have had a similar form of resentment towards Young Thug's rise in popularity and the mentorship he was getting from Birdman. According to Young Thug, when Birdman introduced the 2 artists, Wayne refused to shake
Drake's so
Thug's hand,
corny,
almost like
bro.
the predecessor that Wayne wanted Lil Chucky and Lil Twist to be. But this is a common theme in the music industry, right? Artists sign bad contracts when they're young and they're desperate, and once their music isn't as hot as it used to be, they don't get promoted or paid by their labels. J Mills put it perfectly when he said, "I know what it was like to be great, and somebody comes around and they are just undeniable." Nicki was undeniable. Drake was undeniable. Let's say there was 10 of us. To hit with 3, the way that you hit, now some people might say, Mills, you're being a little too cordial with that because 3. That's how it works sometimes. Keep it moving, figure it out. That wasn't my first stop on the train,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be my last. I knew this wouldn't last forever, and I feel like a lot of people thought it was going to last forever. So to sum it up, Young Money's run was revolutionary, and it changed the sound of
Facts.
hip-hop forever.
Greatest
And
label
Lil
ever.
Wayne will go down as
Or
one
team.
of the best rappers
Whatever you
of
wanna
all
consider.
time, with one of the best labels in music history. But he didn't start Young Money to purely profit off
Greatest
the artist.
coalition of
Instead,
all
It was
time.
to help them become as great of an
Better
artist
than good
as he was.
music?
But there's only so much that
Better than
someone else can do
Rockefeller?
for you. To artists like Nicki Minaj,
Better than Maybach
Drake,
music.
and Tyga, they knew that being in Wayne's shadow wouldn't
Putting
last
it out
forever.
there, cuz.
They needed to make a name for
You don't
themselves.
believe in it?
There's always
Hey.
gonna be some
If you don't believe in it, tell me who y'all think better. Tell me what rapper y'all think is better, and what group or label or coalition is better than Young Money.
someone better than you. There's always going to be
Let me
a
know in
bad
the comments
contract
below.
on the table, but it's up to you.
I'm down
make
to
your way
debate.
out of that and stand out from everyone else. Wayne built a conglomerate that no one else in hip hop will ever be able
Facts.
to replicate. And out of 10 artists, to hit on 3 the way that he hit, that's some pretty incredible shit. Let
For
me know
real.
down in the comments what story you'd like to hear me cover next. I'll catch you guys in the next one.